Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Da, 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 da.
To Healthy Living with Christina's Changwa.
And Pastor Lasting.
It's a YouTube takeover. Okay, so once again, guys, thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. And we've been excited, we've been planning, we've been looking forward to this, when our schedules would finally align. I know we did together, but when our schedules would finally align and we can do this, relationship series together. So yes, I have dropped the ball. We are going to be going through like a YouTube takeover, a relationship series. So we're going to be getting on this journey and enjoying it together. So as introduced, I'm with a lovely guest here, my favorite guest. No bias, I think you're like what, the second, third guest?
I think I was the first. Wasn't it?
Before my sister. Yeah, okay, the first ever guest. So please introduce yourself.
Okay, I am her husband.
That's right.
Yes, she gets her last name from me. So I've always been a part of the show, one way or another.
Yes.
So yes, I am Pastor Lasting Changwa, branch pastor for the City of the Lord Church Kasama branch. I am a software engineer. I am an ICT professional. I can give a CV, but instead I will just say I am her special guest for this wonderful series. And
You forgot he's the father.
I was saying I am the father to perfection.
Okay.
Yeah.
His favorite thing to say now. So I was surprised that it was missing.
It was the final thing, best for last.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but I did start with you, so it's more like the important one to start with, and then the best for last, because the two of you are my world.
Okay, so we are going to be getting right into it. Today we'll be just giving a brief story time as to how we met, what dating was like for us, like what we believe are some of the principles that made dating and courting such an enjoyable period for us.
Yeah.
Yes, so how did we meet?
Usually you like argue with my accounts of
We
stories.
have completely like two different experiences. So I'll let him go first. This is a guest and I'm a good host.
Wow.
So please, what's your version?
My version.
Yes, your version.
Okay, so was it that time in the living room? I actually don't remember.
Okay, allow me, as is the custom of this relationship.
No, I mean I have an account, but firstly, let's do this. You start with that, right? And then I will see whether what I have in mind actually coincides with that.
I hope the gents are taking notes. Anyway,
Always remember, actually, guys, just take notes. I'm telling you, it's a mistake that I made in the past. Take notes.
okay, so we are under the same, have been from day one, under the same covering, which is our mentor Apostle Frederick Kaluluma, and it was 2016. He was having a mentorship class, so we met at our pastor's home. Like he was having a mentorship class. You said in the living room.
Yes, in the living room. What always used to happen in the living room? Mentorship classes. Okay, so you see, I was right.
So many other things happen in the living room.
Prayer.
What I mean was, that's not where we met. We were in the room together, but we met under a tree.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we were in the class together. Like when I walked in, I had seen him. Like I was under our mentor's, mentorship longer than he was. So So I was like, oh, new face, and I was with my best friend.
Apparently, she had heard rumors about me
Mavis
already.
there. I did. Everyone was talking about some, new guy who sounded very similar to Amanda. So I remember I had told, I was with my best friend, and I was like, oh, girl, I think that guy is cute.
Wow.
And I brushed it off because I mean that's what you do.
And she always argues when I say that she liked me before I liked her.
Please comment like down below that you can think someone is cute without falling for them or whatever that is. I just said, oh, that guy is cute, and I moved on. I was in the belly of the glory. I was worshiping, I was praying, I was having the time of my life. And yeah, I just noticed that was about it. That's the first discrepancy in this story. I didn't like him like that. Oh.
Okay, I just caught your eye. We get it. Thank you. No, that is about right. And then
how
I
we
think,
actually met, pardon me. After the class, we were all like socializing, and I was under a tree, and he approached me and asked me some, spiritual question, and that was like our first interaction.
Yeah. I think it was because she was someone that I had not yet interacted with. So, being the new guy, I wanted to try and get to know as many people as I could. So it was not a pickup line. It was literally me being spiritual. I mean, yeah. So let's brush that off. So now some time passed, right? And then you were in Kitwe.
What's that?
No, then someone ended up having a dream telling me that they saw me ditching them and then coming to help you and your sister. Yet at that time I had only interacted with your sister, and I barely really even knew. I didn't even know your name. Listen! So I say you like me before I liked you. But so it's like I was literally like, oh, so that's her sister's name. Okay. Yeah. So then I was wondering, like, okay, what would I even have to do with them? But anyway, I knew I had like a purpose to like help your sister and teach her something. But I was wondering why you were in the dream, But yeah. So then I ended up just texting, like I knew the purpose for her. So I ended up just starting to talk to you, just in order to establish something, like to get an understanding, like, okay, what's there? Yeah. And that's when I think I texted you, or did I just call you? I've forgotten, but it ended up with a call.
I think the first interaction we had was you called because you needed about environment and this is the thing. I'm the one with the deeds. Okay? That's the first time we ever spoke on the phone. The second time was my mom was going into surgery and you were and you found out because you're talking to my sister. So you called to check up on me to find out how I was doing, knowing that my mom looked at his face.
Are you sure that wasn't like after that?
No, I had never spoken to you before that. No.
Yes.
Yes. And like it was such a down moment for me. That's even, and knowing my personality, I really believe that's even why we would even have conversations that especially since at the time I had like gotten born again in 2013, and I had kind of sworn off guys personally. Like I was very young, I was like 16, 17.
Then the Lord gave me the grace. Please go on.
So I wasn't even like, because every time I got close to a guy, like try to make friends, be friends with the guy, like it always ended up in different things and stuff. So I just was not connecting like that with people, like, yeah. So I know like it's mostly because you were helpful, like when my mom was in surgery, that we, I'd even return your messages. So please, don't get it twisted.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how we met, basically. So after that, like he said, we were in the same circle, kind of like the way you would meet someone in class and you're just talking about lectures and courses and whatever. It's basically what it was like for us. We never really used to be like, oh, how's your day? What are you eating? Or whatever. No, it was like strictly business, strictly spiritual business. We just used to like, oh, let me pray with you and blah blah blah. And yeah, that was basically the summation of our relationship. So like, when do you feel like things change?
When things changed, I think personally, when things started getting awkward, for me, the reason I'm using the word awkward is because emotional feelings were very foreign to me. I mean, I literally heard, like, our pastor literally told me once that, no, there was actually someone who approached me and said that, no, I like lasting because of how he talks when he's teaching me. And then he told me, like, ha, 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 like he laughed, literally, like laughed and said, no, he is in a relationship, a very serious relationship with the Lord. He is very spiritual right now. And like, it's literally the way I was. I never even thought about work. I never thought about any relationship. I never thought about marriage. I was just like, I'm going to do what the Lord wants me to do right now. Whatever comes later. Yeah, so eventually there was that time when I think you guys were closing at school, and then I was in the area and I was visiting different people, and then I think I had made you and your roommate like prepare food for me or something, and I had arranged to come there with Aaron.
Calm down.
Okay, I've
Let me
forgotten
just
the
clarify.
details.
I wasn't out there cooking for like men in one hood, right? We were having a closing whatever, like, because we were not intending to come back to the boarding house. So like, it's the last day of school, so we were like cooking everything that was like in the so he mentioned that he was coming, and we left him a portion. It was not we were cooking like. Yeah, so it was that thing like,
oh yeah, you guys said that you were cooking, and I said I hope I'll find something or something like that, but I don't know. But
it's like I remember him on your behalf.
Yeah.
I should be getting paid.
Yeah, but you'd be getting too much money. So I think after we ended up coming there, and then I don't know, there's a certain way, like the way we ended everything with that prayer session. There's a way you would pray for someone feeling like you're praying as though it were you. But now I think there was a certain way I prayed for you as though it was me. In a way I have never prayed for someone else. And so I think it felt a little awkward. I didn't really...
Very awkward. Let me tell you what he was praying about. One just but yeah, like, I think the thing about us is we were talking and whatnot, but we were not necessarily noticing that we were
actually developing.
Yeah, so everyone around us could notice, like, like super giggling with each other.
Apparently, I think people used to ask you to ask me for things because I wouldn't refuse for you, but I refuse for them. It was a subconscious.
So like, I don't think we would notice. So even that day, I was legit like cracking jokes with my roommates about him coming. Even like talking to one of them, like, I could get you guys together and whatever. And it would just be like, the vibe was just weird, right? Like, I'd be laughing or whatever, and he's like, oh, you look really pretty.
That came from my mom.
Yes, it did, and I will never forget. But that's like the thing. Even then, I'll just be like, whatever. Like, I never really noticed why, because I strongly believe if you have a thing for me, you should open your mouth and say it, right?
And then the day I actually opened my mouth and said it, whoa! But we'll talk about that very soon.
I just feel like I don't like assuming things. I do not like reading in between the lines ever. So I'd prefer you make it as clear as day. So even if I maybe thought I would kill that thing like on the spot. there was a vibe, right? We were connecting and whatnot. And I think, yeah, and then I acknowledged, like, look, I do have feelings for this guy, but he hasn't necessarily said none. So I was just, guarding my heart from, because it is from the heart that flows, life itself.
And so, since it's from the heart that flows life, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So then came the time when
Favorite day in history.
the 12th of November 2016. Yes. Sierra
Then have your stories.
Yes. Long story short, it's more like, because of my realization of like the feelings and everything, I subconsciously blocked her off.
Constantly. I don't know how I'm here right now.
Well, we can thank God
Yes, so what happened?
for the divine intervention.
Did I go straight?
Honestly, I according to me, like I said, during that period, I was literally just, my mind was focused. So it's literally like I ended up saying, Lord, I do not want my emotions to get in the way of my destiny. Yeah. So
I feel it.
yeah. So I literally, because literally, when you talk to someone every day, you will develop feelings.
You are bound.
You are bound to develop feelings. So, for example, sir, if you are constantly talking to that young lady, ma'am, if you are constantly talking to that gentleman, then you're going to say, no, there's no feelings. Well, rest assured, in due time there will be. And it's inevitable. But now it ended up being more or less like a subconscious move. Trust me, I was not conscious of many things. I was literally the type of person where I've made the decision, boom, I've even forgotten. So I'd literally forgotten all of that, to such an extent where I was even being asked, like, why did you stop talking to her? And I'm like I literally even forgot in that moment where I was being asked, and then it dawned on me, oh my goodness, I like her. And then I remembered all those, like, everything that I kind of buried. Yeah. How was that moment for you?
Felt like we were not necessarily like buds at the time, but like the biggest thing I think that we can both agree on is, yes, we had feelings for each other, but like to act on those feelings was a little difficult, because like I said, our relationship was like that, like maybe one of your like course mates, always talking about like the course and whatnot. We never really talked about like, okay, these are my hopes and dreams, like my favorite color, like who I am and blah blah blah. Like we just clicked, so we just would grow with the conversation. And so I didn't know anything about him, and we are both firm believers that to get into a relationship, to start a courtship, it has to lead to marriage. What do we mean by that? I believe like I said, I was on a sabbatical from dating, because I was just not into the thing of like, casual getting together and whatnot. No, I felt like I wanted to be attached to someone. I wanted to grow with this person, to do life with them, right? So I wasn't just going to. I knew like it was leading to marriage. So I didn't want a bad marriage. I didn't want like some messy divorce or whatever. And so it was a little scary. Maybe let me put it like that, because I didn't really know him. But thankfully, like he did tell me how he felt, and I felt the same way. And we both felt like just building a friendship. So we did not start dating immediately. We were not out like his girlfriend. And for me, I'm very grateful for that period. It took a year.
Yeah.
It took a year also because of where we were at in life. Mind you, I was a teenager. I was in my first year at university. I was just adjusting to life at university, like my course, and I'm very ambitious. I wanted to be like, I didn't want to be the typical story, like I fell in love, so I'm like class, we wouldn't talk at the time. We would encourage me to get the class, school blah blah. Like you get the idea.
I remember that.
So for me, that's like from that moment, like I like that moment because we both agreed like, look, we do like each other, but we don't know anything really about each other like that. Feelings, like they are feelings, right? But they're not enough.
Yeah.
They're not enough just to build something as sustainable as a marriage.
Yeah.
They're not enough, and that's something I truly appreciate. And for you, what made you like when that year came to an end? Like, I mean, it's not that we're saying go ye forth. I know you'll be friends for a year. Again, for us, we were really young. I was really young.
Yeah.
But but I felt like there was no rush, in other words, especially with something as big as your destiny, as big as your happiness, as big as, and for me as a female, I don't have time to waste. So I loved that I took my time to just dissect whatever was really going on there, and so did he. And yeah, I knew like at that time, like we had gone through so much in that year, so much growing, so much just life happening, that I knew like I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. Before I explain why, I'll let him explain. Like, what made you like feel like, okay, I'm willing to pursue this relationship, like I want to be with this girl?
Well, to make it as brief as possible, it started with the interrogation. By the way, that's also one point which has different accounts, because it felt like an interrogation for me, but for her, she was just asking questions which she needed answers to.
100%.
And that's one of the things I actually liked, because all those questions actually opened my mind. Like, okay, I was not thinking that way. I was not thinking about that. And the questions were, okay, what exactly are the feelings that you have?
Yeah,
okay, and what are your
like,
plans?
I have feelings for you. Is it hate? Is it like, tell me exactly
Yeah.
what you feel?
So there, sometimes it's also something that gentlemen and ladies, like, no matter what relationship you're about to get into, I think there's a need for one of you to be level-minded enough to actually think about the future. And like she mentioned, if you're going to get into a relationship, if there is no vision or goal or aim to get married, what's the point?
Really? That is the point.
And so she was asking questions which were very valid. And number one, it opened my mind up to a certain thing. And even by the end of that same year where we were getting to know each other, where we defined that, it's that kind of thing where it brought me to a point of thinking beyond myself. Because like I mentioned, I never thought about marriage. I never thought about anything else. So it kind of started teaching me to think beyond me, beyond the sphere of my own personal world. Now it started making me think of like a world beyond me, where there's more than just me, where it made me start thinking about another person with regards to my future. And I think that's when God kind of started teaching me to be a family man, to start actually considering someone else. And through all of that, first of all, how you understood me in certain areas more than I understood myself, that was kudos, because you know that thing that many people end up feeling like, no, people don't understand me. But yeah, she got to understand me more than I understood myself in certain ways, and she literally ended up doing something for me beyond. It felt more than what anyone else has ever done for me. And it's that kind of thing where someone is actually willing to go through all that trouble just for me. So I think it's that kind of thing where it felt like you were that person I could literally spend the rest of my life with. And once you have that, are you willing to let that go?
I think for me, every time I'm asked like what made him the one, I always talk about the time that we almost just like ended everything I said, the tricky thing with that same year when we were trying to like get to know each other, so much happened to him, so much happened to me. Like we just went through a lot. I got to see him like at like the lows of, let's say, his mental health, right? And like I don't know, he just was a shadow of himself. And yeah, like to be there with someone and see them work through that, like, because I was just crossed over into my second year. He was done with his engineering and had to like start working, and had to find out the hard way what the corporate world is like, especially in this country and stuff, like food terms and all of that stuff. It was just like I feel like was hit in the face with reality of what it means to be, like he said, a family man. Like in the future, he's going to have to start taking care of people, like, and it was so, I don't know, it was just such a shadow of himself. And then for me, I lost my dad that year, and it was the worst thing ever. But like, I don't know. So in all of that, he was growing, right? Like I said, he was working, he was growing with regards to church leadership. He was not a pastor then, far from that. Not far from it, like in destiny or in character, but I mean like in position. And so we're all just like getting to know adulthood basically. And I don't know, every single time, like we both knew we were destined for this path. Like I said, the first connection we had was spiritual. We both knew. I knew like he was always going to become a pastor. He was always going to lead a flock. I always knew I wanted the same thing, right? So there's a way we carried ourselves, there's a way we spoke, there's boundaries that we had, and we'll get into that since it's a series. We'll talk about all of that stuff probably in the next video. So life was just so hard, like, so we were so busy. School was insane for me. I'm trying to like cope with not having my dad anymore. I have like siblings. My mom is in a certain state, and that's when he came in with like a knight in shining armor. That's when he met my family, when he met my mom. Like, not when my dad died, like they had met shortly before, but I mean he was there. Like, ask anyone in my family, they can attest. Like, he literally became my mom's chauffeur because it was so hard for her to get to work, like just to process things. He'd take her to work, bring her from work every day, and I loved that. Trust me, I loved that, right? But because he was there, I feel like for the whole world, he was like Superman for the whole world. It was really hard for me to get what we had before, like where I could call him at any time, because now we're both adulting. And so when I hated that, because my love language is quality time, I want to spend time with you, I want us to like have conversations and whatever. It was just becoming hard to do that. Like, it was such a precious commodity, right? And every time I tried to I hated that was happening. Every time, like, we were both just so busy. Always being told, like, look, this and that. Like, I don't know. I just was being told all sorts of things, which is another thing I'd like people to take note of. External influence is a thing, yes. So, like, not all advice is bad, but I like to tell people, like, advice is like eating fish. Like, there's the flesh and there's the bones. You can eat the flesh and you can toss out the bones. But for me, I don't think I was in the right mental state at the time, especially after losing my dad. I felt like everyone was, like, so many people were approaching me on his behalf, right? Like, you're so strong-willed, you're so, yeah, like, because I'm expressive and whatever, you're so, and he's an introvert. So it's like everyone took it upon themselves to, on behalf of my brother, I feel like you should be more of this, you should be less this. And I was so over it because I didn't feel like I needed to. I was so confused. Like, I'm never going to change. Like, no matter how big the flock you're leading, I'm still going to want to spend time with the person that I'm married to. I'm still going to want to bond and all of that stuff. So I genuinely felt like, I think this guy is amazing, but like, maybe he doesn't think I'm that like person for him. So I was like, bro, I think you should find somebody else.
There's definitely more words. But yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Get you another best friend, bro. And yeah, so I remember sending the message. I know it's cowardly to send something with the message, but he was hard to reach at the time. And I cried my little heart out. I was just crying. And I'm like, oh well. And when he's finally responding, he's just like, what do you mean? Like, I think for almost 2 to 3 days, guys, I was so confused. I'm like, I get that this guy is, on another level. But does he not know a breakup message when he sees one? I was so confused. I kept trying to explain, like, look, he just kept, are you okay? He asked me if I'm okay every single time, like, I don't think you're fine, so maybe you should see someone. He literally helped me find someone. Like, I feel like this person will understand you, like, seeing that you're in this space. And thankfully, this person had also lost their dad before. Like, it was literally the perfect session, and they helped me also understand him and his personality and the fact that he's not necessarily super expressive and all of that stuff. So, the fun got out. Like, I felt like I also was able to like decipher his voice. Another thing we did learn though, like a lot of people were saying so much, he wasn't saying enough. So we did. I remember I did tell him, like, it's easier for me if people are talking, if there's external influence, if I have your voice in my head.
Yeah.
I'm able to be like, no, that's not how he is. No, he actually doesn't want that and stuff. So yeah, for me, that's what made him the one that at the time I'm telling this guy, usually people their ego is bruised, like, I can get another you in a minute. Like, he genuinely was concerned about how I was, and like would fight through me ignoring him or whatever to actually get me help, and I did get help. And I felt like if this person can see me like at my lowest and still, like, believe in me and want me to be fine and all of that stuff, that's the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And that is the day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 3 days. Those are the 3 days. I'm like, that's the one. That's the one I choose. That's the one I want.
And I think after that, one thing that we can even pick up just from that is, after that, once we reconciled, then I went through the process of me healing from the message. Because firstly, it felt more like, no, I have to fight for this. So you actually have to fight for something you feel is worth it. If you value something, you actually have to fight for it. And so I fought for it. It was there. And then that's when it's more like all those barriers, whatever, we're like being strong for the both of us. And then now, like, the other person is now finally strong than I was. Yeah.
Then it hurt.
That's when the pain came. Obviously it was there, but I mean, that's when it's more like it hit. But I think from me, I can nicely say you'll hear more from us next week. Thank you. Bye.